The neighborhood on West Somerdale Avenue looked like every other quiet Chicago suburb. Lined with modest homes and familiar faces, it was the kind of place where you'd never expect a monster to live. The lawns were neatly trimmed, the porches decorated with seasonal lights. No one thought twice about the man who lived at 8213. John Wayne Gacy was, by all accounts, one of the friendliest people on the block. He threw massive neighborhood parties, grilling food for dozens of guests. He dressed up as a clown to perform for children. He was involved in local politics, had pictures with mayors, and even once posed with the First Lady. He hired young boys to work for his construction company, often giving them a sense of purpose when they felt lost. People trusted him. Parents trusted him. That trust, however, would turn out to be one of the greatest mistakes in American criminal history. In the winter of 1978, the alarm was raised when Robert Piest, a 15-year-old boy, disappeared. He had gone to speak with a contractor about a potential part-time job after school. He told his mother he'd be back in a few minutes. He never returned. His mother immediately reported him missing. The contractor, John Wayne Gacy. Detectives initially found nothing out of the ordinary. Gacy seemed helpful, maybe even a little too helpful. But as days passed, they noticed the cracks. His timeline was inconsistent, his alibi flimsy, and that odor from beneath his home, it was impossible to ignore. He blamed it on moisture, on sewage problems, on anything but what it really was. Over the next several days, surveillance intensified. Gacy, growing nervous, started to unravel. He began drinking heavily. One night, intoxicated and spiraling, he confessed to his lawyer, not out of remorse, but because he thought he was invincible. He spoke of killing at least 30 people, referring to them as if they were forgotten items, not lives. The lawyer was stunned. The confession was grotesque. And yet, it would only scratch the surface of the horror buried beneath the floorboards. When police finally raided the home, what they found defied belief. In the crawl space beneath the house, dark, damp, and cramped, were the bodies of young men and boys. Skeletons stacked nearly on top of each other. Some decayed beyond recognition. Many still wore the remnants of clothing. Each body told a story of betrayal, manipulation, and merciless violence. And as investigators continued digging, more bodies surfaced, one after another. 29 were buried under the house. 4 more were later found in the Des Plaines River, dumped like garbage. All boys, all young. Most had been lured with the promise of money or work, only to be handcuffed, assaulted, and strangled to death in Gacy's twisted game. His method was calculated. He had perfected the art of charm. Victims would enter his home willingly. He'd offer them a drink, maybe smoke a joint. Then he'd produce handcuffs. "Let me show you a magic trick," he'd say. Once bound, he would smile, lean in, and whisper, "You're not going anywhere." He called it the rope trick. "I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request." One of the most haunting facts is how many warning signs were missed. Gacy had previously been convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy in Iowa years earlier. He had served time, just 18 months, but no one thought to connect that past to the smiling man throwing barbecues on Somerdale Avenue. The system had let him slip through the cracks, again and again. The trial that followed was one of the most publicized in American history. Survivors came forward, young men who had barely escaped Gacy's grasp. Their stories were harrowing. Jurors listened to weeks of testimony detailing every act of cruelty. Gacy sat emotionless, sometimes smirking, sometimes doodling on a notepad. He pled not guilty by reason of insanity. But the jury wasn't fooled. On March 13, 1980, John Wayne Gacy was convicted of 33 counts of murder. He was sentenced to death. He was transferred to death row at Menard Correctional Center, where he remained for 14 years. Even in prison, Gacy craved attention. He granted interviews, painted portraits of himself as a clown, and sold his artwork to collectors. One painting, disturbingly titled "Hi-Ho with Clowns," showed a cartoonish version of himself surrounded by other clowns, smiling. The proceeds funded his commissary, while the families of his victims were left with nothing but grief. He played the role of a misunderstood artist, of a scapegoat. But no one bought it. Not anymore. By now, the world had seen the mask fall, and they knew exactly what lay beneath it. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. And about how many lives can be shattered by one man's desire for power. Today, the house on Summerdale is gone, demolished, replaced by a new home, built over the soil that once hid unspeakable horrors. Some say the ground still feels heavy. Others won't walk past it. But the memory remains, not just of John Wayne Gacy, but of the boys he murdered, each one with a name, a story, a life cut short. They were sons, friends, dreamers, and they trusted the man in the clown suit. That's the chilling truth behind the mask.